Jai Hind, everybody. I thank Tilak Chronicles for inviting me, and also uh, my regards to all the speakers and all the people who are listening in. I'm going to speak about Balochistan today, which is the topic. And before we start speaking on Balochistan, or I start speaking about it, we must understand a few things that Balochistan is not what we traditionally understand Balochistan to be. It's a 10,000-year-old civilization that is called the Mehergarh civilization. The Baloch civilization is almost as old or even older than Mohenjo-daro or the Indus Valley civilization. So I think civilizationally speaking, it is not the Pakistanis that should be ruling over the Baloch. I think it is the Baloch who should be ruling over the Pakistanis, first of all. Secondly, the Khan of Kalat was tricked into signing an agreement. There was treachery involved by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, there was treachery involved by the Pakistani state, and the Khan of Kalat was forced to sign an agreement by sheer trickery. And that is how Pakistan occupied Balochistan. It has been a free country before Pakistan came into existence, and it must be a free country again. Now, all of us know about the human rights violations that are happening in Balochistan. We talk about mass disappearances. We talk about torture cells. Pakistani army trained death squads, which kill people just so that fear can be instilled in the people. People also know about how young men from villages in which a so-called quote unquote an informer is found out, how these people take them on a helicopter and throw them while they are still alive. They throw them from 2, 3, 4, 5,000 feet to their deaths just to pass a message. Women are routinely raped, children are killed, and air explosives have been used to neutralize entire villages, kill innocent people in Balochistan. People have been protesting outside the Quetta Press Club for so many years with a photograph of the near and dear ones. The disappeared people in Balochistan are in thousands upon thousands, and there are millions of Balochis who have been displaced. Now, a few things we must understand. First of all, Balochistan is almost 60 to 65% Pashtun. Even in Balochistan, the majority is not Baloch, it is Pashtun majority. Though culturally they are slightly different from the Pashtuns in the Northwest Frontier province, which is an adjoining province, but culturally they are slightly different. They have an element of Baloch in their food, in the way they dress. It is slightly different, though they also speak Pashto, by the way. Most of the Pashtuns in Balochistan speak Pashto. Uh, Also, we must consider the fact that the Baloch freedom struggle has not been supported by India. And this is where I think as a nation, as a country, we must accept our mistake. Today, I'm very happy that we are at least talking about Balochistan. Prime Minister Modi made a speech on the forts of the ramparts of the Red Fort, a few years back, and said that the Baloch people are calling him, etc. It was a great message, but I feel that we need to do more. We need to actually help the Baloch people, and I have been a very strong advocate of helping the Baloch people. And there are 2, 3 ways we can do it. First of all, like we created a Tibetan government in exile in the 50s for the Tibetans who were massacred and rendered homeless by the Chinese atrocities. We must do a similar thing in Delhi. We must have a Balochistan government in exile in New Delhi. It's very important that we recognize that Balochistan independence is legal and their freedom struggle is moral and ethical. Coming from the world's largest democracy like India, it will have a lot of meaning for people across the world, and there will be many small and big countries which will start noticing that there is a Baloch problem. We need to help the Baloch. If we do not help the Baloch, nobody else will help the Baloch. Let's let's be very, very clear in this. Secondly, what we would need to do is also invest money in this and have Balochistan embassies in exile in Washington, D.C., in London, in France, in other democracies, at least 4 or 5 places, where trained Baloch youth can be taken and they spread the word of Balochistan. We should send trained Baloch youth to Harvard, uh, Cambridge, and other Ivy League universities in the US, and including Massachusetts Institute of Technology, etc., and also send trained Baloch youth to Oxford and King's College London and London School of Economics and other places So they can tell these students, because among these students only will be tomorrow's leaders of the Western world. You see, whether it's France, whether it's Italy, the leaders of the Western world will come from countries like New Zealand, Australia. They will come from America. They will come from UK. They will come from Europe, other places. So we must have a very clear-cut this thing that we want to encourage the Baloch youth. The Baloch youth should be able to tell their stories, and it is incumbent, it is our responsibility that the government of India and our organizations must provide them with that platform. We have not been doing it, and very sadly, we are the ones who are at fault. You know, what can the Baloch do? They are already fighting against Pakistan. They are giving up their lives. So the Baloch are already doing more than they can do. It is we who are lagging behind, and we need to support the Baloch freedom struggle. A political recognition of the Baloch freedom struggle is the first criteria, that politically we realize that Balochistan and we accept that Balochistan is a freedom struggle. You know, Pakistanis often quote the United Nations Kashmir resolution of 48 and say that it is a legal struggle. In this case, I would like to say that definitely a UN stamp matters, but it is also all in the mind. You see, when has China respected the United Nations? When has America respected the United Nations? No strong power in the world respects the United Nations. People do exactly what they feel like. The problem with India, traditionally for the past 72 years, since we have gained independence, is that we do not want the first prize. We want the good boy prize. We don't want to come first anywhere. We want other people to call us good. That, oh, the Indians have such an old civilization. The Indians are such a nice people. They are peace loving. They believe in ahimsa. They believe in yoga. They believe in all these things. You see, people have been seeing Mahatma Gandhi as the face of India for a very long time. It is time to show them the face of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. You know, we are showing the people wrong face always. Mahatma Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. We all respect Mahatma Gandhi. There is no doubt. But we also have Chhatrapati Shivaji. We also have Bhagat Singh. We also have so many warriors who have given their life for this country, and we have not projected them because somewhere we were told that we are a very peace-loving people. And then people started confusing our peacefulness with being harmless. They thought that India is not peaceful, India is harmless. India cannot do us any harm. Balochistan is also strategically important to India, not just as a counterweight to Kashmir. I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying it is important because you cannot trust Iran. Today, you are spending billions of dollars in building the Chabahar port in Iran. But look at Iran's statement with regard to Kashmir. Look at their statements. Today, you think Pakistan will ever give us overland route to Afghanistan and Central Asia? It will never give it. Let's be very clear about that. Pakistan will, even if they give you, even if they promise, they will shut it off at will and they will harass you and they will terrorize your people. That is Pakistan's nature. You cannot trust Iran. You cannot trust Pakistan. The only people you can trust are the Baloch. And there is a reason. There are two reasons why I'm saying you can trust the Baloch. Number one, in spite of everything, in spite of the Islamic radicalization that has been going on in even in Balochistan, the Balochs have proven beyond doubt. They have proved beyond doubt that they are a people who have put nationalism ahead of religion. Pakistan has tried to create thousands of madrasas using Saudi money inside Balochistan so that they start feeling more Islamic and they become close to Pakistan. But the Baloch people are still killing the Pakistani security forces. Why? Because Baloch nationalism is bigger. Feeling of Baloch pride and Baloch nationalism, there is a reason for that also. The reason is that Balochistan, as I told you, is a 10,000-year-old civilization. When a civilization is very, very old, a very old civilization, they don't get into these small little things of radical religion and all that. They know that the roots are deeper than religion. Balochistan was an identity 9,000 years before Islam came into this world. So let us not take that identity lightly because the Baloch don't take it lightly. That is number one. Number two, the Baloch have proven time and again by sacrificing thousands of lives, literally thousands of lives, that they are not interested in being with Pakistan. There are, of course, a few sold Baloch people. There are sold people everywhere. They are there in India also. They are everywhere. People, the Mir Jafar type of people who are there. They are there even among the Baloch. But you will see that in Kashmir also, when fighters came, they came from Punjab and Pakistan. Pakistani Punjabi fighters have come. Pashtun fighters have come. But you would not have seen Baloch person coming inside Kashmir to fight. You will not find Sindhis coming in to fight. So these are people who want independence, and now even Pashtuns are talking about independence from Pakistan because they are sick and tired. Anybody in his right mind will be sick and tired of Pakistan. Pakistan is an artificial construct. Coming back to the Balochistan point, it is incumbent upon us to support the Baloch freedom struggle. If we do not support the Baloch will suffer, and then it will be India's fault. It will be our fault if Balochistan is not supported. The Baloch don't need weapons to fight. They have weapons, they have guts, they have courage, they are fighting. But what we can do is give political support, give diplomatic support. One more thing we can do is celebrate Baloch Day, a Balochistan Day across all embassies and high commissions across the world. All Indian high commissions and embassies should be given a small budget and said that every year you will support. You send Baloch there, even if you send 5 Baloch to every embassy, it does not matter. There are enough and more Baloch in Europe and all that. And make it big, make it an occasion. Institutionalize, when you institutionalize the support, then it is not that today Modi government is there, tomorrow, maybe after 10 years, Amit Shah becomes Prime Minister. This policy, if it's institutionalized, then it will continue government after government. It will become government of India policy. That is what we should do. And lastly, I want to say one thing, and this is how I will end my talk, that, we as even today, we are faced with danger in Ladakh. And we as a nation have always been very circumspect. We as a nation have always said that, no, we are not, we don't want to do anything that will upset the world. And, we want to be very peaceful. People are not interested in you if you are peaceful. Let us be very frank and honest with each other today. Since all of us are Indians who are listening to this, the world is not interested in India's peace. All the 5 members of the Security Council, okay, America, Russia, China, France, England. I will quickly tell you about their history, quickly in 2 minutes, so you understand what kind of people are ruling this earth and what it takes to rule this earth. Good boys do not rule this earth. Okay, America was one of the biggest founders and supporters of slavery. Millions of African slaves, they were not given food. Many were killed along the way. America was built on the back and on the head of the black man. This is America's truth. America bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killed millions of innocent Japanese. Since 1945, end of Second World War onwards till today, America has not seen in even 1 year of peace. It is always fighting everywhere. Vietnam, Korea, South America, Iraq, Afghanistan, and 25 other countries whose names you have never heard of, America has been fighting. And today America talks about human rights and world peace. England, look at England. England was the one who started colonialism. A small country, smaller than Uttar Pradesh, ruled over more than half the known world. How did they rule? They sent their navy, they sent their East India Company, they stole wealth from India. This is their character. Russia, all of you have heard about Stalin. Stalin killed more than 20 million Russians in the Great Purge. This is the history of Russia, the bloody history of Russia. Then speak about France. You know what France did in Northern Africa. Millions of Northern Africans were killed and enslaved. And France was a colonial power just like England, not as big as England, but it was a colonial power. It has ruled parts of India also, by the way, in case you have forgotten. Then coming to China, the 5th permanent member of the Security Council, you all know about Mao Zedong. What has Mao Zedong done? He has literally been responsible for the death of 2.5 crore, that is 25 million Chinese in the Great Leap Forward, in the Long March, in the Great Famine of China. Please read history. These are the 5 countries, the worst human rights oppressors and rule breakers in the history of this planet, who are now telling us about world peace. They are telling us about human rights in Kashmir. So if anybody thinks that by being the good boy, you can actually win over the world, that bus has left the bus stand, that train has left the railway station, or that ship has sailed from the harbor. Forget about it. You must understand the power of the ancient Indian Vedas, the scriptures, and you must realize that what your forefathers and our forefathers said, they were not wrong. It is only us who's so infatuated with the white man that when the white man says something is good, then we'll believe something is good. We must look within ourselves, claim our true heritage, and help the Baloch people. They are people in need. They are looking at us for help. They are asking for our help. And all we do is give them empty talk, and we have not helped the Baloch. We must help the Baloch with money, with diplomacy, and with political support. Jai Hind.